All right, for this particular lesson, we're learning how to write functions from graphs. And the hardest thing about this is going to be watching me try and draw a straight line. So let's just say, nope, that didn't work. Okay, let's say that this is going to work, but that's our big plan. Hey, that one was kind of good. We're going to have to fudge it a little bit though. We're going to look at this point right here and this point right here. Okay, whenever you're writing a function or a rule from a graph, you want to be able to identify 2 points for a line that are really easy to label. Okay, so if we look at this first point right here, we have when x is -3, y is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and label that. When x is -3, y is 0. This other point I kind of missed, but you get the idea. When x is 0, y is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. I know that's not exactly it, but that's what I was shooting for. So we're going to just kind of go with that. So remember, we're using this amazing form, slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. So all we need to find is the slope and the y-intercept. So we're going to find the slope by taking our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, we're not given a point 1 and a point 2 necessarily. So kind of the standard approach in mathematics is you go from left to right just like you're reading a book. And so this first point right here would be point 1, and the second point we come to would be point 2. So let's go ahead and label those as such. So we can go ahead and call this one point 1, and this one will be point 2. So when we plug our information in, our y2 value is 2, minus our y1, which is 0, over our x2, which is 0, minus our x1, which is a -3. So that will give us 2 over a +3 as the slope. So we can go ahead and plug that information in. Then we'll need the y-intercept. And the y-intercept, remember, is what happens to y when x is 0. So we have the y-intercept right here. So when x is 0, y is 2. So our y-intercept is 2. That's physically where the line intercepts the y-axis. So let's bring everything else down. Y equals the x and the plus. So in the end, we have y equals 2/3 x plus 2 is the equation for the line that we see drawn on the graph. So let's try this again. Let's see if I can draw another straight line. We don't know. Anything could happen. Let's bring in a graph. All right, so here we have a graph, and let's see if we can draw a line in there. Kind of, sort of. Okay, so let's identify a couple of points here. We can use that point and that one. Okay, let's label them. This first point looks like when x is 0, y is 2.5. And this other point when x is 5, y is 0. So let's find our slope, which is change in y over change in x. So again, just kind of a reminder, if we start from the left and move right like we're reading a book, this is the first point we come to, this is the second point. So this would be point 1, this would be point 2. So if I had to label these, this would be our x1, y1 pair. And this would be our x2, y2 pair. So our change in y is going to be y2 minus y1. So 0 minus 2.5 over x2 minus x1, which is 5 minus 0. So that gives us a negative 2.5 over 5. That can be reduced down. They're both divisible by 2.5. So that would give us a negative 1/2 in the end for our slope. So next we need to identify the y-intercept. So the y-intercept right here is where the line physically intercepts the y-axis. So when x is 0, y is 3. So in this case, our y-intercept is a positive 3. So we can take these two pieces of information and plug them into our slope-intercept form. We have our slope and our y-intercept that we can plug in. We'll have y equals mx plus b. The m value is a negative 1/2. The b value is a positive 3. So the equation for the line, or the function rule for the line, is y equals a negative 1/2 x plus 3.